Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we're going to be comparing a Lexus RX 500h to a Genesis GV80 with the 3.5T. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Lexus here in Linden and to the Murdoch Genesis here in Linden for giving me some time with both of these cars. I'll include a link to both of their inventories in the description down below so you can check out what they have. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering the GV80 is a turbocharged 3.5 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 18 around town and then 23 on the highway, with power outputs being 375 horsepower and then 391 pound-feet of torque. Now, powering the Lexus is a turbocharged 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that is paired to a hybrid system and a 6-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 27 around town and then 28 on the highway, with power outputs being 366 horsepower and then 406 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the GV80, Genesis has gone all out on luxury styling. That is the theme of the GV80. You can see with the massive front grille here, notice how it's kind of boxier. And then you can see that with the headlights as well, because they're literally just rectangles. So yeah, luxury is the theme, and this has matte white paint, which also kind of adds to that. Whereas when it comes to the Lexus RX, they've gone for a sportier theme. I mean, look how angular the front end is. And then look at the headlight design, for example. And notice how everything's all blacked out with the trim. I mean, this one is an F-Sport package, but again, sportiness is the theme. And then when it comes to the tire and wheel setup with the GV80, it is 265/40/22 in the front and over in the rear. Whereas with the Lexus, it is 235/50/21 in the front and over in the rear. And again, look at the theme. Wheels completely blacked out, brake calipers blacked out. Whereas over on the Genesis side of things, we've got fewer spokes, they're larger, and look at the coloration here, kind of more of a silver type thing. I mean, it's gray, but it's more silvery gray. And then even the brake caliper as well. And then you can see here with the little turn signal indicators on the side, and then again, more of that silver trim on the side, same thing around the windows. Whereas with the Lexus, you can see the F-Sport badge, mirror caps, all that, all blacked out. And then here's the full side view of the GV80, again, boxier with the design. Whereas the Lexus, it's more tapered off, again, more angular because they're going for a sportier look. Now, when it comes to the key fobs, you can see that, well, there's a functionality difference. So the Lexus basically has lock, unlock, and then an opening for the hatch. Remote start's built into the lock function. The Genesis has all of that, plus we've got the self-park feature, and you can turn on the lights. So there's a little bit more going on. Now, popping to the back of the RX, we've got a cargo cover built in from the factory, and very spacious cargo area. That's one of the things that's great about this segment of SUV is you got quite a bit of storage space. We can also fold down the second row with those tabs right there, so that makes it easy. And then when you're all done, just press this and that will lower the hatch right back down. And then with the GV80, it looks like it's a little bit longer in terms of the cargo space here in the back, but it's pretty similar dimensions overall. You can see this same thing with the seats, except you can also raise them up, which is a nice feature. But yeah, again, practicality, right? And it looks like the hatch doesn't go as high as the Lexus hatch. Interesting. And then wrapping things up with the rear style, you can see the light bar design here on the Lexus. And again, with the blacked out elements, and just look how it just, again, kind of tapers off to a point. Whereas with the Genesis, again, it's almost more upright with the stylistic cue. And so, I mean, these SUVs could not be more different when it comes to what they're going for stylistically. And then legroom in the back of the RX is really good. We've got a little storage pocket here. We do have heated and ventilated seats in the back. We've got some USB ports. We've got some little vents. And then I love the trim here in the Lexus. It has a very durable feel to it. And then the electronic door handle is always an interesting thing. And then same thing with the seats. They've got a very kind of like durable look and feel to them. That's kind of what Lexus always goes for. And then we do have a little center console here. It's kind of interesting. And then headroom back here. I mean, I've got a little bit of space. Now the seat is pushed back a little bit, but room here in the Genesis feels very similar to the Lexus. And guess what? We still have heated and ventilated seats. We've got our own climate zone in the back. We got some charging ports as well. And again, different theme here. So definitely has more of kind of like a luxury appearance with the design. And it's interesting to see the blue with the brown. Very very out there. I like it though. And then look at these seats. Again, luxury is the theme with the seats. Still have a cup holder, armrest, center console kind of set up here. And then headroom in the Genesis, well, it's pretty much the same actually. And then I also forgot to mention, we got sunglass holders here. And then we have our own sunroof in the back. Now at the front of the Lexus, got a pretty cool startup animation there. But anyways, going to the door panel, again, same thing with kind of like the durable look and feel here with the material use and all that. I like the finish there on the window controls, kind of a similar theme. And then they go for like a blacked out finish here on all of the buttons. And notice you got memory seats. We do have blind spot monitoring. And then we've got Lexus's, what I'll call signature steering wheel. So perforated on either side. Got the F Sport logo there. Nice trim there at the bottom. Paddle shifters there on the back. We've got controls here for the heads-up display. The heads-up display does control quite a bit in the new Lexus cars. And then we do have this big digital gauge cluster here in the center, which the coolest part about this is when you go through the different drive modes, which we'll do in a little bit. But anyways, 360 camera system with this. Trajectory lines turn with the steering wheel. I would say, again, sorry about the glare, but really good resolution with the system. And then, well, I guess we got to go through this. Welcome to brand new car life. So yeah, good response time. And then notice how the climate controls and all that are always accessible. You've got your heated seat control. You've got your ventilated seats up front as well, heated steering wheel. I like how they have two different settings for the heated steering wheel. Now this is where the drive modes will pop up, but they actually changed the gauge cluster here. So you can see the sport mode versus like eco and normal. So I think that's another fun part of it. And then you do have parking assist here. You've got that for the 360 camera. Got some USBs and like the little thing there. Wireless phone charging pad inside, and then here's our shifter. And then you got more controls like auto hold. You've got like an off-road mode basically, some cup holders. And then I think this one, yeah, it's got the trick center console that opens up both ways. It is soft touch on the dash, and then you can see how that trim connects across. I don't know if it's going to pop up on camera very well. And then it's soft touch all over here. And then we do have a camera rear view mirror with this, and then just a regular panoramic sunroof. And then we do have a nice cloth headliner. It's like very soft. And now it's time to pop into the Genesis. So again, that luxury theme continues on the door panel up front, and they do that with the finish on the controls here. Again, silvery to kind of make it look more fancy. Two-spoke design with the steering wheel, paddle shifters, all of that. Definitely interesting. And then this has like the 3D digital gauge cluster. It's a very interesting look, to say the least. But it also changes with the drive modes, just obviously different animation, but you know, similar theme to what you have in the Lexus. And then we do have a 360 camera system, good resolution with it. So both of them are great from a camera system perspective. Now when it comes to the infotainment system, on the Genesis you can control it with a dial, and that's because it's kind of far here on the dash. You really have to kind of stretch your arm out to reach it. And yes, we of course have massaging seats with this, and it's tons of seat adjustments as well with the GV80. And then heads-up display just like the Lexus, but you don't control a bunch of stuff with it. It's more just information. But nice trim all across the dash. Again, in that kind of like blue coloration. And then you got your climate control stack here, heated and ventilated seats with this, heated steering wheel. And then, storage area. It's like in the same place as the Lexus too for the wireless phone charging pad. And then analog controls for the infotainment system with their dial shifter. And a nice wood trim here with the cup holders. Your drive mode select, and then your hill descent control. It's got center locking differential too. And then like, look at this quilted trim on the side. Very, very fancy looking. And then we do have a center console, which it just opens up. A lot of themes from Mercedes I'm noticing in this. And then yeah, good storage space in the glove box. And then it looks like it just has a regular rear view mirror. And then we've got a very premium headliner here. And then we do have another sunroof up front. So as equipped, this Genesis stickers for about $79K, and then this Lexus stickers for about $73K. So there's a $6,000 price difference between these two vehicles as spec'd. But note that one has matte paint, which does, you know, add quite a bit of a price premium on it. If it didn't have the matte paint, they'd be a bit closer in price. Well, let us set off in the GV80 first, and then we'll drive the Lexus second. I will say, because of the boxy design here in the GV80 and the big kind of like squared off windows, it does have a very open feel. And then I think also the brighter colors, you know, whenever you have lighter colors, especially the headliner, It always makes a vehicle feel more open rather than like a dark cave, right? Which some people like the cave feel, some people like the open feel. My wife personally, she likes lighter headliners and everything because she likes the more open, airy feel in a car. Ride quality is solid with the GV80. And turn signal camera is always a fun thing. Again, you have to remember the theme with this one is luxury. And you can tell that with how this drives. It's kind of focusing on smoothing everything out, being comfortable. Seats are really comfortable, by the way. Speaking of comfortable, let's get that massage function going on. That's nice. This does have huge wheels, which, you know, whenever you go over certain bumps and everything, it does create a little bit of harshness. I'd like to see someone like put the smallest possible wheel on a GV80 and put some off-road tires on it. I think completely pointless, but also I think it'd be hilarious. And it'd probably ride really well because the extra sidewall. Now we'll pop it into the sport mode here. Gonna wait till we get past this and then we'll get a acceleration. Okay, let's get on it. I mean, it's quick. It's got good power. It's got good power. And again, it's comfortable. Like you feel, you know, the unevenness and the bumps in the road and everything, but overall it's a comfortable drive. And the other thing that I'd say is it's very well insulated. So yeah, I mean the GV80, it's quick. It's got, but again, this, you can tell this isn't going for, I mean, it does handle well and everything, but you can tell it's not going for sportiness. It's going for luxury. And so, yeah, with that in mind, let's pop over into the Lexus and see how things shake out. Well, let us set off in the RX now, back to back with the GV80. Completely different feel right off the bat. So I'd say the GV80, the seats are a little bit wider in that. So these seats are not uncomfortable, but they're tighter. I feel like I'm almost too big to fit in these seats a little bit. But really comfortable ride. It's interesting. So these, yeah, these wheels provide a little bit less harshness than we can have in the GV80 because smaller wheel, a little bit more sidewall on the tires, right? 40 rating versus a 50 rating. But yeah, I mean, they're both pretty similar with the ride. Just my tripod. So I'd say they're both comfortable with that. Gotta get this on so I can, I will say I wish they had like a traditional, unless I'm missing it, I don't see any traditional drive mode select thing. I think it's on the screen. But yeah, I mean, they both drive well. The GV80 though, I'd say is more, it definitely, you can tell more luxury. But again, this is an F Sport. You know, Lexus purposefully tunes the suspension to be firmer because, you know, it's the Sport, right? So I'm gonna wait till we're past this and then punch it. Wow. I mean, this thing's got, it's got some power. I love traditional hybrids in terms of how they perform compared to plug-in hybrids. Plug-in hybrids, it always feels like there's a disconnect in terms of the acceleration. We're just gonna kind of flip around here because the Lexus store actually has a back entry that I can get into. Yeah, traditional hybrids, the power figures you see on paper, it feels more like that in terms of real-world acceleration. Traditional hybrids, yeah, versus plug-in hybrids. Plug-in hybrids, there's a little bit of disconnect. So this feels really solid. It actually feels like, yeah, 366 horsepower. So to cap things off with this comparison, GV80 versus Lexus RX. I know people are comparing these, but let me tell you, it's, again, the themes are just so different that it's hard to compare them. What I'd say is if you're just looking for raw features, they both have a lot of features, so then it's kind of hard to choose one feature-wise to feature-wise because they're both, you know, loaded up features from a feature. I can't talk. They're both loaded up from a feature perspective. So then you have to look at it from stylistic perspective. Which style do you like more? And so I think that's what's going to be the determining factor for a lot of people. And then also reputation, right? Lexus is, you know, Toyota, right? So they've built this reputation over decades of reliability. Genesis does not have that same reputation. So because of the reputational difference, I think that some people would go with the Lexus over the Genesis. You know, reliability is a concern. And then, you know, economy. Luxury buyers, interestingly enough, are worrying more and more about economy. I remember back in the day, people just wanted the biggest engine with the most power, but I'm noticing this shift, whereas luxury buyers kind of care more about fuel economy than before. Like, that's part of luxury, is not having to fill up all the time. And so this, with the hybrid being more economical than the GV80, that could also be something. So let me know which one you like more, whether it's the Lexus or the Genesis.